What are you doing here, bro?
What are you doing here? I'm about to film a video.
What do you mean, what am I doing here? I'm here because it is time to tell our audience that we're actually rich and that we're not just the poor person we portray on camera. Duh. Why are you here?
No, we're not super rich. We are as poor as we can be. Look at this, I'm wearing super cheap clothes.
What do you mean we're poor? We make so much money.
No, I'm wearing cheap jeans, cheap sweatshirt, cheap undershirt, because I can't afford anything else.
Yeah, loans. Nobody cares. Nobody cares how much money you spend on things like expensive watches or, whatever else. They just care that you make lots of money.
No, we don't make that much money.
But you do.
No, I promise we don't.
You make so much money.
I would know.
No, you don't.
We don't make lots of money.
Fine, let's go through it and I'll prove it to you.
Fine. I'll prove you wrong. Bring it on, bro. I got nothing to hide either. We are broke as can be.
I got nothing to hide. I got my rich, expensive watch, expensive suit, and I'm ready to go. Let's tell these kids who's really making the money.
Deal?
Okay, deal. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Dr. Dawson, and as you can see, I'm clearly balling it here in this very expensive suit, my very expensive watch, and clearly I'm not as poor as dirt as that guy over there thinks and says I am. So let's get started today. We're gonna talk about veterinary debt, how much money I make as a mixed animal veterinarian, and what you guys can expect going into the veterinary field as far as how much money you could be making and what kind of debt to expect, and really what kind of a lifestyle you should expect going into veterinary medicine. So personally, how much money did I spend going into veterinary medicine? As you know, to become a veterinarian, you need a 4-year degree or just about that much schooling in order to get into vet school, and then it's another 4 years. Well, I did a little bit of an abbreviated approach, which I'll talk about in another video, but I came out with just about $10,000. So I got my bachelor's degree in biology for about $10,000, which is super cheap as far as everything goes for how much it costs. So as you guys know, going into veterinary medicine, you have to have 8 years of schooling, and 4 years of that is an undergraduate degree or just about, and another 4 years for veterinary school. So how much money did I spend getting my bachelor's degree in biology? Well, it was about $10,000. 0 of that was debt. I had it all paid off as I went through school. So that was obviously the cheap part. And through that whole point, I had no personal debt, no other loans, just a little bit of credit card usage that I paid off every single month. So how much was veterinary school? We get this question quite a lot. People don't realize how expensive it is. So I went to an out-of-state school. I went to Iowa State University instead of going to Minnesota because that's where I got in. I was on the wait list still in Minnesota. Minnesota in-state tuition when I started vet school was about $36,000 per year. And that's just tuition. That's not living expenses. And when I went to Iowa State, my initial expenses were about $44,000 per year for tuition. And then obviously living expenses are on top of that. And as you can imagine, with a full-time job, it's very hard to maintain grades in veterinary school. And I don't recommend trying to work those kinds of hours in vet school because you will burn out even if all you do is veterinary school. And working a full-time job outside of that is almost impossible because of how long of hours you have to put in during school. So most likely you'll be putting a lot of money into debt like I did. So by the time I left vet school and was finished, my last year cost about $48,000 per year. So it went up, about 9% while I was in vet school. One of the other schools I was looking at was Colorado State University because they have quite a good equine program, and also they do a lot with cattle. So I was looking into that, but the expense was out of my reach. Out-of-state tuition at Colorado State University when I was looking at it, was $77,000 per year. That is ridiculous. So to get through your 4 years of vet school, if you had no other debt, would have been almost $300,000 just with tuition, no living expenses, no interest. So how much debt did I come out with from veterinary school? Well, I came out with about $277,000 of student loans. Some of that was living expenses because unfortunately, despite my wife working full time, we still were not able to pay all of our living expenses, and we had to use some of that, as well as just the interest that accrued during vet school. So I came out the day I graduated with $277,000 in student loans, and currently I'm down to about $165,000. And a lot of that is due to the deferment that we were able to enjoy during this pandemic, because we were able to pay quite a bit of principal and not quite as much interest. So all of veterinary school pretty much is unsubsidized loans, meaning high interest rates, low forgivability, and really not a lot of options for payment. So I basically was given 3 different options for payment. A 10-year fixed loan, where you pay 10 years fixed. There's a 10-year graduated loan where you pay less at the beginning, and as you earn more money, your payment goes up in a stepwise fashion to pay it off in 10 years. And then there's the same 2 options for a 20-year loan. Because of how high my debt is compared to my income, I did qualify for that. The third option is some sort of pay-as-you-earn, and there's multiple different programs out there for pay-as-you-earn. The problem with those is that although the payment would be significantly less, there's no guarantee that I'll qualify it forever, and interest is going to accrue in the meantime. So if I were to ever not qualify for some sort of pay-as-you-earn program, my student loan debt would be unpayable, and I would probably have to declare bankruptcy. And the problem is there's no guarantees on any of this. These programs are not set in stone. There's no contract. There's nothing that guarantees that they will not just end one day and you'll be stuck with $200,000 worth of interest. So if I'd gone with a 10-year fixed loan, it would have been almost $3,000 a month in student loans, which unfortunately, with how much money me and my wife make, is not feasible, as we'll go into in just a minute. And so we had to go with a 20-year loan. We had to. There was no other choice to go with that payment option. And so we had to go with a $1,900 a month student loan payment, which is quite a bit of money, unfortunately. Now, the interest rate on student loans when I got them was ridiculously high. My average interest rate is somewhere around 5.7%, which is very, very high as far as loans go, but refinancing doesn't make a lot of sense because the loans that I would qualify for, one, are not forgivable. So if I ever become disabled and hurt and I'm no longer able to work because I get run over by a cow or whatever, that loan is still going to be collected. Or if I die, my wife will be stuck with it. So I did not want to refinance for that reason alone because of how high the debt is. The other reason is that the interest rates weren't that much better, 4.8, 4.9. It would have been less than a 1% difference in the interest rates, and it really didn't make sense with it not being a forgivable loan. And maybe someday the interest rate will be low enough where it doesn't really matter and it makes sense to do it. But right now, the risk and versus benefit really isn't there, and so we're just going with the 20-year payment for right now. So how much do I pay for my house every single month? We do own this house. We purchased it for about $112,000, somewhere in that range, plus fees, taxes, whatever. And we pay about $750 mortgage each month on that. So with my student loan and my house payment, we're between $2,600 and $2,700 per month for just the loans that we're paying. Currently, we do not have a car loan, maybe getting a short-term car loan in the future, because my car, unfortunately, is dying and dead. So we pay about $300 to $400 in utilities every month, and that goes for whether we're paying for AC in the summer, heat in the winter, internet, just about everything is $300 to $400, sometimes a touch more, depending on how things go. So how much money do I spend for the rest of the month? Well, about 10% of my income goes towards a tithe for our church. Another a couple $100 between phone bills and insurance. And then we also have car insurance, life insurance, all of those things. It comes out to be about $1,200 a month on top of my $2,000 a month student loan payment and my $750 mortgage payment. So how much money do I make? Am I really balling it like I'm pretending today? Well, as you probably already have figured out, no, I'm not. Before taxes, I make about $70,000 a year. The exact amount is technically confidential, so we're gonna just say it's about $70,000. My wife makes about $35,000 per year in her job, so not nearly as much, unfortunately. We're trying to get a better paying job for her, but there's just not one available at the moment. So I make about $4,000 a month after taxes. And my wife makes a little less than $1,200 a month after taxes as well. So between the two of us, we make about $100,000 to $110,000 a year, and we make about $5,000 a month after taxes, which sounds like, oh, that's a lot of money. So with just our house and our student loan payment, my student loan payment, we spend about half of our combined incomes together per month just on debt. Now, the AVMA and the people who are really into finance really recommend that you don't pay more than about 15% of your monthly income on debt. But we have to pay so much more because we don't have another payment option that's reasonable. Now, the other thing to think about is we just had a baby, as you can see in this video, meet Edison. And for childcare for him, for Allison to continue to work, is gonna be about $600 to $800 a month. And we've done our shopping around for childcare, and that's really the options that we have. And so really, we're gonna be left with very, very little money at the end of every single month to pay bills. And so that's why when everybody comes up to me and says, hey, you guys make so much money as vets, we really don't, because the debt that we come out of school with is so, so high. The average starting salary in my school was $70,000 for the year that I graduated. And the average debt, this is average, including students that come out with no debt because their parents paid for it. They got ridiculous scholarships, which that's the other thing. In vet school, the number and quantity of scholarships is almost nothing. I did get a scholarship while I was in vet school, but it was for $1,000, which paid for like nothing, unfortunately. But the average student loan debt for people coming out of veterinary school is $130,000, and that's including in that math those that with no student loan debt. And so even in-state tuition, which I had out-of-state tuition, but even in-state tuition for a lot of schools, their debt is very similar to mine. I have a coworker who graduated from Minnesota, the University of Minnesota, and has probably $30,000 to $50,000 less debt than I do. But still, her student loan payments every month, and this is just a guess, I don't know for sure, is still probably about $1,500 to $1,600 a month, despite having very little debt from undergrad, and she's still coming out with incredibly high debt from vet school. So really, outside of what money comes in, we really don't have a lot of money to save or invest. So we have a little bit of money tucked away in a savings account, and we have a little bit of money tucked away in an investment account. But really, to prepare for retirement, I won't be able to start until 10 years down the road, maybe. Probably 20 years down the road when my student loans are paid off. And so really, people complain about the prices at a vet clinic, but even though our prices seem high to people, we don't make that much money in comparison to the amount of debt that we accrue from just going to school and getting an education. People think we make lots and lots of money, that we really are balling, and there are vets that do. I mean, some of my classmates started out with a salary of $90,000. But some of them actually came out with even more debt. One girl, she's working out on the East Coast. She started out at $95,000 plus pro-sal, meaning that she gets some production. So if she makes over a certain amount of money for the clinic, she gets a cut of everything over that. But she also has almost $350,000 in student loan debt. And so even though she's making a lot of money, she's putting a ton of money towards student loans. Not to mention, now that we're making as much money as we are, we're paying quite a bit in taxes. And so we're paying a lot in taxes, we're paying a lot in student loans, and we're having to live like we're still in vet school for 10 to 20 years after we graduate. And we really never get to take advantage of that salary that we do actually produce. Just think about what kind of house you could buy with $1,900 a month in student loans. It would be a very, very nice house, much better than we currently own. Not that it's bad, it's a perfect little house, but that's just it. It's just a starter house because we don't have a lot of extra. The only reason we bought a house is because long-term investment, we're gonna be paying the same amount if we rent as if we aren't renting, and we're actually putting equity into this house, and it'll hopefully appreciate with time. So what's the point of this video, guys? Well, the biggest point of this video is so next time you guys go to your vet, just thank them for going through the vet school that they did. If they graduated 25 years ago, they have their debt paid off and they're actually starting to make money. And a lot of those that graduated a long time ago, the prices were so much lower than they are now. The prices now are just absolutely out of hand. Now, the thing is, people think we make so much money, but we have invested a lot of time and a lot of money into our education. And as much as we care for and like the animals, we have to pay the bills every single month, just like you guys do. We have to make sure that we pay for our student loans. We have to make sure that we pay for insurance. My liability insurance is over $1,000 a year by itself, and it could be a lot higher than that. So what's the point, guys? Well, today I really just wanted to tell you that we're really just trying to make it work. As new graduates, we are learning how to be doctors. We are learning how to really know all of the things that we need to know every single day. And a lot of times we're going into practices where we don't make the prices, but the practices that we're going into know how much they have to pay us in order for us to even pay our bills every month. We're not out buying fancy cars. We're not out spending lots of money on entertainment because we're unfortunately trying to just pay the next bill, just pay the next student loan. And really, we're recommended, you don't want to be over 13% of your monthly income is spent on debt. But most of our income is spent on debt. And like I said, if it wasn't for my wife who works and does so much for us as a household and does so much for our marriage and is able to help provide, we really would not be able to make the student loan payment every single month, and we wouldn't be able to pay for the house. We would be living in a shoebox, essentially. So I really appreciate her hard work. And Allison, thank you so much for when you watch this video, as I know you will, because you support me in so many different ways, including on this channel. So thanks for watching this video, guys. I appreciate it so much. If you guys wouldn't mind, like and subscribe, as it really helps out the channel. And I just wanted to say thank you to you guys for watching these videos that I've been producing, despite how bad some of them have for quality. We're coming a long ways, and I want to share with you guys a channel update here in the next couple of weeks about what we've done, where we're headed, and what the goals really are for this channel and how they've maybe changed a little and all of that. So if you guys have questions in AMA kind of style video, feel free to leave them in the comments down below here, or hit me up on Twitter, and I'll be happy to answer those questions in my next video. Have a great rest of your day, guys. We'll see you in the next one.